my job is to be skeptical at every turn, okay? That's what I do. I watch every Niner game back. I've told you, I've been watching it back over and over for years.
That's
before I even got on the air.
That's kind of our job.
No, I understand that. But
that's what we do if we love football.
Right. No, I agree. And I'm looking for strengths and weaknesses, right? Every single week. And I'm just telling you, I've been watching Brock Purdy multiple times, every game, week after week after week after week. Do I think he's the greatest, most physically gifted quarterback who ever played? No, I don't. Do I think he's one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever watched? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I think that he is ridiculously underrated.
Ever watched in a Niners uniform or in the
Niner uniform? Okay, in a Niner uniform. I think Tom Brady, I would
Peyton
even put
Manning.
Mahomes on that level in terms of understanding.
Jim Kelly, Dan Marino. Yeah,
I wouldn't put Favre. Favre was reckless at times.
No, he was reckless.
He was
Very
reckless at times. I would not put Favre in the Aaron Rodgers, extremely smart. Although Aaron Rodgers frustrated me with how risk-averse he would be in certain games.
Now,
that being said, watching Brock, he's a gunslinger that also takes care of the ball. Yep. He rips the ball down the field. I think one of the big misnomers is that he's not an explosive quarterback. It's completely false. The guy rips the ball down the field. You're seeing a version of Ayuk we were never going to see with Jimmy Garoppolo, okay? You're seeing a version of the check down game with Christian McCaffrey that is flawless. He is in synergy on these option routes on the underneath. His pocket awareness is criminally underrated. His feet
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
His feet
you know why?
are unreal.
I don't think it is underrated. I think people were trying to tell us this last year. Baldy told us this last year. A lot of experts told us this last year that Brock Purdy sees it. That's why the hype was real with Brock Purdy. And I was like, you know what? These guys might be right. What he's doing this year is just an extension of what he was doing last year. And he's getting better and better and better. So I think we may have underrated Brock Purdy, but a lot of people were trying to tell us, Brock Purdy think about Tim Ryan. We saw him the first day of training camp.
Yep.
And Tim Ryan was saying, look, dude, this guy gets it and rips it. He's the guy, no doubt about it. People need to get on board. He sees it. He feels it. And, maybe we came away from that saying, well, T-Rock's just being a homer. He calls Niner games. He's just being a homer.
Especially after how much we were all excited for Trey Lance, and it blew up in everybody's face.
Yeah, well, it blew up in our face. For sure.
Yeah, but you know what? But Bonte, that's the healthy 49er fan skepticism, which we always are like, we'll see it. You know what I mean? Like, how are we going to lose in dramatic fashion in the NFC Championship game? When is our quarterback going to turn into a turtle? You know what I mean? Like, and shell up. So, if you play zone against Brock, he will anticipate throw your ass to death.
Yeah, no doubt.
He will destroy you. If you go man-to-man on the edges, he was like, you're going to guard Ayuk one-on-one out there? Well, guess what? I'm taking a deep shot one-on-one because Ayuk is going to cook you.
Larry
all
Kruger,
the best aspects of Brock Purdy are exactly what I love in all my favorite quarterbacks.
Larry Kruger said he liked him out of training camp, but even I asked Larry Kruger, I said, did you think he was going to be this good? Larry Kruger looked me in the eye and said, no, I didn't think he'd be this good. Nobody thought he'd be this good in terms of pocket awareness, footwork, anticipation, getting the ball out fast, using all of his weapons.
His toughness.
Pre-snap read. And then just commanding the huddle. Again, his toughness was on display last year in the Tampa Bay game when he got popped on the first play of the game. TJ Reeves reminded us of that last week when the sideline reporter from Tampa Bay when he joined us on the roast last week. His toughness on the first play of the game didn't let him down to a touchdown drive. They didn't look back. Then he goes up to Seattle on a short week with broken ribs. They didn't even know he was going to play. Until about 30 minutes before the game. And he played, and the Niners wore hat and T-shirts that said NFC West champs. And then we see the torn UCL. He had to go back in the game and had the ball off, trying to throw a screen pass. It looked terrible. But he fought his way back to play this game. But what Dick Fan said, 888-957-9570.
He's unflappable.
888-957-9570. How many folks out there agree with this cut? AR46, Dick Fan. Brock Purdy, just another quarterback on a different team? Huh? Dick Fan thinks that. Do you think that?
I don't.
I think there's a healthy respect for Brock Purdy and a respect that Brock Purdy is in the perfect system for Brock Purdy. You put Brock Purdy on the Jets, he's better than Zach Wilson, but he's not Brock Purdy. You put Brock Purdy, on the Raiders, on the Saints, on most teams in the NFL, and he's just another starting quarterback like most of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL. But since he's on the Niners, and Kyle Shanahan is a magician taking less than great quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo, and turning them into winning quarterbacks, not Pro Bowl quarterbacks, but winning quarterbacks. That's what he is. And I think the Seahawks have a great respect for it. And I think you've got the right man for the job right now because we went through that before. You got a guy that's making nothing at the quarterback position that's giving you quality play. that opens the door up for greatness, guys, because you can just buy everybody at all the other positions.
You know, Dick Fed, I respect his opinion. But I'll respectfully say, I don't really care about his opinion. This is where I go with this. Brock Purdy's on another team. He's just another guy. Well, guess what? He's not on another team. He's on the 49ers. And right now on the 49ers, in this system, the same thing with Deebo Samuel. You know, we talk about Draymond Green to go to say, where's off? He's on another team. He's not this good. Well, he's not on another team. He's on the Golden State Warriors, and he provides maximum value, and the Warriors know how to maximize him.
If James Worthy was on the Atlanta Hawks.
Right. Well, he wasn't. He got drafted by the Lakers and stayed a Laker. Yeah, no, I know. You know, so to my point is, Brock Purdy's on the 49ers playing under Kyle Shanahan. He's not on the Saints. The Saints had a chance to draft him. Every team in the league had a chance to draft him. They didn't. He's on the 49ers. And he's playing some of the best quarterback in the league right now. There's not many players. What quarterback's playing better than Brock Purdy right now?
When you and I used to chart all the Jimmy Garoppolo play, and I'm using Jimmy because Jimmy was a very high-level winner. And to his point, if you're watching from afar, I can understand that point of view. You and I used to do it. There would be 10-plus decisions in a game where I'm like, what is he seeing? What is he doing?
What did I say with Jimmy Garoppolo? It was
you
the
nailed
BSCG's days. I said, look, folks, Jimmy's fine. But there's going to be about 4 to 6 no throws that we just have to live through. And you got to hope that they don't get picked off.
Now, in the 3-game losing streak, there were more, as in like 4 or 5 in the fourth quarter of both the Minnesota and the Cincinnati game. They were like, what are you doing here, Brock? Right. Decisions. But he had like 20-plus great decisions in both of those games. Cleveland game was by far and away his stinker. It was a stinker.
It was terrible.
He was off. The whole game he was off. The decision, the throw, everything was rushed. It was a bad game. He is like 95% hit rate in terms of decision making. And that's what I like. Are you a great decision maker? Do you put the ball in harm's way? Do you protect the ball? Do you negate big sacks? Do you get the ball to your playmakers for explosive plays?
The sack thing, that's the one concern I do have. When he's rolling out the pocket, defenses are starting to catch up to the way he rolls out the pocket, the way he wants to navigate when he goes around. So he's getting tripped up, and I've seen him tripped up a lot this year. That concerns me in a game like this, and it concerns me in a game like Philadelphia. He's got to clean that up.
They also have the 23rd best offensive line per PFF.
Yeah, but that's a problem. But we knew that coming in.
No, I know.
We knew that coming in.
To me,
so
that
don't
elevates
blame the offensive
Purdy.
line, but Shanahan gets the ball out quick. He knows how to scheme it up. So Purdy's playing. We know what elevates Purdy, though, is the weapons around him, which is no knock on Brock Purdy.
Same with Jalen.
He's maximizing his presence.
Jalen without AJ?
But that's what I'm saying. But no, he's maximizing his weapons around him. No doubt. We saw it without Deebo and Trent Williams. At times, it was not pretty.
Agreed.
But they're back in the lineup, and now we're scoring 30 points again. Now we're back up to 28 points per game. I wanted to get to 30. We'll see if it happens. I would love to drop 30 on Seattle.
I think it's going to be tighter than that.
But you know what? Do you guys agree with Dick Van Der? Is he just another quarterback on another team? I personally don't care because he's on the 49ers, and he may be a 49er for a long, long time. Let's go to Scott Marin. There's another cut we want to play, too. Another cut that he said. But let's get to Scott Marin. What's up, Scott?
People are doing mental gymnastics to try to prove that Brock's not good when all the data and all of your eyeballs are telling you he's really good.
Well, we thought this about Jimmy early on.
He's better than Jimmy.
Yeah, I think so, too.
No, I know so.
We thought so, too. You know, let's see it, though. He's got to do something that Jimmy didn't do. Get back to the Super Bowl and win it.
He's already done something that Jimmy didn't do, which is have a second half where he dominated from the pocket against Seattle and kicked their what.
Jimmy dominated from the pocket against Seattle to win the NFC Championship in 2019. Game. But he didn't play Seattle in the playoffs.
I'm just saying.
He didn't do it in the playoffs.
You know, like Brock was excellent in that second half.
He was excellent in that second half.
He destroyed them.
But Jimmy was excellent in Seattle to clinch home field advantage and the number 1 seed in Seattle. He went 18-22 for 285 in that football game. So let's, I know we want to trash on Jimmy, but Jimmy was a good Niner. He was a good Niner.
Now,
it didn't end well. Let's
that.
not trash on him because he had some great games in the 49er uniform.
I just think Brock is a whole click above him.
Let's go to Scott Moran. What's happening?
Yeah, I mean it's not even close between him and Garoppolo. Not close. He attempts passes that he completes passes that Jimmy wouldn't even think in a million years to attempt. And the other thing I don't understand is this narrative. Especially with people like Shannon Sharp and people who should know better. It's not who he's playing with. It's how he plays the position.
Exactly.
And that would translate anywhere. I don't care. This guy completes passes that I would say 90% of the league wouldn't even attempt. those feathery balls over the linebackers into tight windows. Most guys shy away from that kind of thing, and he is fearless. So he makes plays that only great quarterbacks make. That's why he makes it look so easy. Only the great ones make it look easy. He makes it look easy. And so, to me, there was no question. I tweeted out in August of 2022 during the preseason that when it's all said and I said, what's really wild is when it's all said and done, this guy's going to have a better career than the other two quarterbacks in this QB room. It was apparent immediately when I saw the guy play that he had something to him. And I only seen it one other time, and that was back in 1979. So that tells you who I think who he compares to.
Wow, we're going there. How about this one? How about this one before we get to Sean in Oakland? Dick Fan also said this, that Geno Smith may be better in Shanahan's system than Brock Purdy. Check this out.
I would put him in that probably 10 to 15 range with Geno because when I evaluate these guys, I say, okay, what would Geno Smith look like with Kyle Shanahan? And what would Brock Purdy look like with Shane Waldron? And my answer to that is Geno Smith would be a better quarterback with Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco than Brock Purdy would be in Seattle with Shane Waldron.
Yeah, I knew that was going to strike a nerve.
Well, so let me ask you.
That was going to strike a nerve.
Can I ask you this? If Patrick Mahomes was with Eberflus right now in Chicago.
Well, it depends on the weaponry, right?
No, just right now. Just right now.
Where you're at.
Just suspend everything. Is Patrick Mahomes the version of Patrick Mahomes that we see today?
Of course not.
Of course not.
But he'd be pretty good. He'd be pretty good, but he may not. But Eberflus is not an offensive mind, so Patrick Mahomes, his growth may be stunted because of Matt Eberflus.
That's what I'm saying. So, I don't know why we do it with someone like Brock, and we don't take it the next step further and do it with other guys that we've already categorized as all-time greats.
I think the Bears are a legit contender in the NFC with Patrick Mahomes. With Cole Kmet and with DJ Moore, Patrick Mahomes is that transcendent. I don't think a lot of people are on his level.
He's drafted by the Bears. Time out. He's drafted
different if he was drafted by him, but if you pluck him
You're
now,
saying this version of Mahomes.
And look, they did have a chance.
The
crazy part is they did have a chance to draft Mahomes. Trubisky, number 2 overall. They moved up from 3 to 2 to draft Trubisky. Who the hell was calling to take the 2 spot from the 49ers at draft?
If Josh Allen had been drafted by the Bears, does he become Josh Allen? I don't think so.
I don't know. It's hard to say, man.
Because they've made nice personnel decisions. Getting him Stephon Diggs, catapulted his growth. Here's
the common denominator. Quarterbacks get all the credit, but quarterbacks without weapons are nothing.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like and that's the thing.
Take Tyreek away from Tua.
Right. So Tyreek away from Patrick Mahomes, and I know they won the Super Bowl.
Very constipated.
But they do.
Yes.
But here's the crazy part. 3 weeks ago, during the 3-game losing streak, we saw one of Purdy's weapons and the left tackle.
Left tackle's important.
But even in the Cleveland game, Trent tried to play that game. You took away Deebo Samuel. How did his offense look like?
It's also the number 1 defense in the league.
Minnesota. They scored 17 points.
And he had the turnovers.
And he threw 2 picks.
Hey, look,
you know what I'm saying?
The quarterback turned the ball over.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They 3 it out right away.
Burrow dominated that game. They
struggled,
lost.
but the offense struggled.
He made some bad decisions.
You take away Deebo Samuel. My point is, you take away Deebo Samuel, and Brock Purdy wasn't playing at an EVP level. He just wasn't.
Okay.
So the common denominator is all these guys need weapons. Tom Brady, I thought he was washed because of the lack of weapons he had in New England.
Tampa Bay,
right? And he gets Mike Evans, Antonio Brown.
I agree.
Gronk. So all these guys need help. All these guys need help. So let's get more respect. Put more respect on guys like Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk's name. That's the problem around these parts. Brock Purdy's playing great. He's playing masterful quarterback. And I get it all starts with the quarterback because he's touching the ball every play. But let's put some respect on the guys around him. We don't do that enough around here.
Well, as we talk about Kansas City, quietly, no one will ever bring this up. Do you know who the number 1 rated center in NFL is from last year?
Kansas City center?
Yeah, Humphreys, the guy they drafted.
Yep.
The number 1 rated center.
Let's get this Sean.
No one ever brings that up.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Sean in Oakland.
We don't talk about offensive line play, and I don't think we talk about the skill play elevating quarterbacks and play callers enough. You're right.
We don't give it up. Brandon Ayuk has 831 yards on 43 catches, 19 yards a catch. And people want to trade him for a second-round pick. Insane.
I'm not moving.
Sean in Oakland. What's happening?
Hey, what's up, Monte? What's up, Chasey?
What's going on?
Hey, man, I'm hearing all this talk about Purdy being this so-called system quarterback. And did anybody forget about when Geno came into the league, how he was just trash with the Jets, and all these interceptions that he was throwing all these years, all of a sudden he get into a system like Seattle, and he's balling out of control.
Yep.
So everybody getting on Brock Purdy about this and this and that, if he was here, if he was there, that's the same goes with anybody except the major elite ones like Peyton Manning, who went to Denver and did what he did, and then, of course, Tom Brady, what he was just talking about, and, of course, Joe Montana, who went to KC and did what he did. It's just a handful of elite quarterbacks that could take another team and do what they did at another team that they left. So Brock Purdy's in a good position. Yeah, is he like the fault of the matter that he's with the Niners and the system is good with all these weapons? That ain't his fault. So Now Geno also showed that come on, man, he was a forgotten man till he went to Seattle. So I'm proud of him also. I don't like Seattle at all. I can't wait for this game to start or whatever it is tomorrow or something. But, yeah, it's like every quarterback needs to be in a certain system that works for him.
Right. The whole system quarterback thing is dumb because every quarterback runs a different system. You're all in the system. Purdy's in Shanahan's system. You know, Kyler's in whatever system they have, Gannon's system in Arizona.
I'm not a system player. I am a system.
Stafford's running McVay's system. All right? That's the whole thing about system quarterbacks. It's so the narratives, man, around football these days is wild. But, boy, if we have more time, and we're going to be watching, Dick Fan, Seattle, believes that Brock Purdy's just another quarterback on a different team. And Geno Smith with Shanahan is better than Brock with Shanahan. That is a wild statement.